show. We are in episode 22. As usual, we have an amazing guest today. In fact, if you are struggling with the things that you feel are outside of your control right now because there's so much stuff happening, then you're definitely in the right place. We have, like I say, an amazing guest today. We're going to be talking about, how to think bigger, different, and strategic in times of crisis. So like I say, if you are struggling with things that you feel like are outside of your control, then let's talk, because it's going to be a fascinating conversation that we have with today's special guest. If you've never been on one of my shows before, would you just type in #new? I would love to e-meet you. For those of you who are new, don't know me, let me introduce myself. My name is Kim Garst. I'm an online business strategist. My passion is helping others grow their businesses, their online businesses specifically, using the power of digital and social media. And that's honestly why I started the Marketing That Grows Your Business show. So if you are an oldie but goodie, just type it, say hey. I'd love to say hey to you guys again. Where in the world are you today? And how are you? I'd love to know how you are this morning. And obviously, it could be that it's your afternoon, depending on where you are. I'm in Tampa, Florida. It's super hot here, super muggy. Love to know how you guys are doing and where you are. What's the weather like? Just some conversation starters here. We do giveaways on every one of my shows. So today we're going to be giving away a ring light. So you can just pop this on the top of your phone and always have a great light source for your selfies or other types of photos when you're in a darker place. It's a really great little thing that you could just stick in your backpack or your purse or whatever. It's a great little thing that you can travel with. And I dropped this. Hey, Rhonda's from Blacksburg, Virginia. Hey, Rhonda. Rhonda's actually on my team too, y'all. So if she starts answering questions, you'll know that who she is. So we have Cynthia from Silver Spring, Maryland. Welcome, Cynthia. I'm so glad you're here. Another giveaway that we're giving today is this it's little, but you slip this over top of your webcam. It's a way to keep people from spying on you. That's a big thing these days. Like, I guess people are like hacking into our webcams and spying on us. So for me, I usually put a little yellow sticky or pink sticky over my camera when I'm not using it. But this is kind of cool because it's clever. It's got little eyeballs. And this is what's looking at you instead of some strange person. So the other giveaway I wanted to give to you guys today and let you know how you win is if you hear something that's like, oh my gosh, that's such a great aha moment, or wow, I know that, I've heard it before, but that really resonated with me. Just drop in a comment that's got a aha, #aha, and that's how we choose our winners. So if you would love to win today, then just go ahead and type in aha, #aha, and let us know what your aha moment was. And we're also going to be giving away one of our speakers' latest books. It's The Celebrity CEO. This is my copy, and it is an amazing book. It's about personal branding and how you show up as your very own CEO inside of your company. So I'm excited to share our special guest with you guys today. I'm really excited. I met Ramon about 5 years ago at an event that we both spoke at called Latino I Connect. And I'll share a little bit more about that story in a moment, but let me share his official bio with you. He's an entrepreneur, an author, and a speaker. And this is what's fascinating. I always love to share the fun things, and this is definitely a fun thing. And I was excited to see it in his bio. He loves burnt pancakes. And bacon on the weekends. I'm not sure the story behind that, but I feel like we need to know what it is, right? He's the founder of Smart Hustle Media. He started 4 companies and exited out of 2. Ramon has authored 4 books, not just the one that I shared with you, which is this one, but his latest book, which is the one I did share and we're giving away today, is Celebrity CEO: How Entrepreneurs Can Thrive by Building a Strong Personal Brand. He has been invited as an expert witness to the United States Congress. That's an amazing tidbit, right? invited to speak at the White House on personal branding. He's interviewed President Obama in the president's first live video chat. Wow. And he was with Ivanka Trump at the Global Entrepreneur Summit in India. So, guys, this is an amazing man. I'm super excited to have him with us. Give him a big hand and a welcome. Hey, Ramon, how are you?
What's up, Kim? I am fantastic. What a surprise. Thanks for giving away my book. I'm going to have 10,000 ahas as best I can. We're going to crash the Kim Gar servers.
Yes.
Just joking. But I'm excited to be here. Thanks so much for having me. Appreciate you and your team. Thank you.
Definitely. Thank you. Well, so I was telling Ramon before we jumped on that I was trying to remember where we met. And I remember the first time we met was at Latino, Latino iConnect? Yes.
iConnect.
And so let's pop up I had to go digging, but I found a photo that was taken of us. And so I don't know if you remember this, but this is Kathy Hackle, myself, and Ramon. We were speakers. I think you were a keynote, right?
That was amazing. Wow, Kim. That was amazing. And I was a fanboy of you then, and I'm still a fan now.
Dude, so listen, guys, he is, love his heart. He is telling some, let me just tell my story and then I'll let him share his. I always feel like I'm not hogging the mic here. No, I don't mean to. No, but I remember thinking when he spoke, that was the first time I'd ever been introduced to him. So I'm like, oh my gosh, this guy has incredible energy. I mean, he was bouncing all over the stage and just bringing it. Like, I mean, just bringing it. You felt like if I'd have had a mic afterwards, I would have dropped the mic. I mean, it was that good. He was really good, very impressive, brought great value, but his energy is like amazing. You guys are going to love him. So I'm excited to have you with us today, Ramon. Oh, okay. So I know that everybody has a great back end story, even if they think they don't. You know, I think a lot of times people think, well, why would somebody want to know my story? But everybody has a great back end story. But I would love to know if you would share a little bit about your journey. How did you start down this entrepreneurial road and kind of get to where you are today?
Sure. Yeah, no, it's a great question. And I always struggle with it because I wish it was like a cute answer, but I think the nutshell of it is, and feel free to poke and prod and get more, and it's not a smooth trajectory, but I'll give people a few data points. I spent a few years, many years, over 10, working at the United Nations. So that's one thing I did for much of my life. I was one of the youngest hired UN staff members at the time. I think I got my first job there. I want to say I was 19, Kim. So I was pretty young when I got my first job at the UN, just as a clerk, filing, a secretary, whatever word you wish to use. And I guess I had the entrepreneurial bug in me. How I got it, I don't know. My parents are ministers, so it wasn't directly from them. The great parents, I love them very much. But the point being is that I guess somehow in the Jacob Javits Center, those who are in the New York area will know it, Kim, you may have spoken there a few times, our big convention center. And I discovered the internet, meaning there was one of the ISPs, internet service providers that were there. And I think the rest is kind of history. From there, Kim, anybody listening, if you've heard of Microsoft Front Page, can you just put that in the comments? I'd be curious to know anybody has heard of. I know Kim has probably in her team, but Microsoft Front Page. So I'd save my blog post, Kim, 3 or 4 times a day, save it. And one of my first blogs was smallbiztechnology.com, which I sold last year. So the bottom line of the story, Kim, is worked at the UN for many years, started a blog, and I think what works today worked X years ago, 15 or so years ago. You produce great content, somebody sees you. I got a request to do freelance writing from Black Enterprise and from Inc. And then from there, kind of things took off. SCORE, the free government agency, they heard of me. Ramon, can you come and speak? I spoke for free for a number of years, but practicing, honing my skills. And last thing I'll say, Kim, I feel like I'm hogging the mic now. I want to hear your comments too, is my son was 4 years old in that time period when I was speaking, when he was he was 4 years old, playing with cars under the chair. Today, he's 25 years old, married, and I started a small podcast with him. So it means a lot to me, Kim, because just a few hours ago, me and my 25-year-old adult son are having a podcast talking man to man. And as I'm sharing the story with you, Kim, I'm relating how he was 4 years old years ago playing with cars as I was just getting into speaking. So I'll stop there. I hope that was helpful and made sense to your audience
Oh
and to
my
you.
gosh, that spawned so many memories for me. So the front page, and we'll start with the front page story. So not many people know this back end story because it's been kind of an embarrassing thing that I haven't shared too often. But I was really struggling in my business 29, 28, 27, 27 to 29 years ago. Well, actually, it would have been probably about 25 years ago because it took me 5 years to make my first $60 online. So, but it was front page. Let me share this story because I was like, oh my gosh, this is so like relevant. Um, I was at my wit's end. I was like, what? I was trying to learn, trying to figure it out. And I got an opportunity to get my first paying gig, which was $60. And I didn't have $97 to buy front page. That was
That's
what it
right.
was. I didn't have $97 and I was like, I know I'd been trying to learn code, but I knew that if I had that software that I could design this guy's website and I would be okay, right? It would
Yes.
be a good enough product that he would feel like his $60 was well spent, right?
Mhm.
So I was like, we had overextended. We had borrowed from Peter to pay Paul. So many, we just had
Yep.
no room, no $97 to be found. So my husband was in the military and he was in special ops almost his entire military career. And he had a travel card. And I had been sworn to not use that travel card because it would jeopardize his security clearance,
Yeah.
all these types of things. So I made a decision to use that card. So I was jeopardizing my marriage, his security clearance. I mean,
Oh
and I was
boy.
thinking, okay, I had 30 days. I had 30 days to make sure that I could pay that back. I knew I had $60 in the hopper, but if I could make $60, then I could do it, you know. And my husband didn't know about this until probably about 5 or 6 years ago. So I didn't fess up to using his travel card for years, but it was front page was my
Yeah.
thing. I had to get it, had to use the money yes. So Cynthia remembers it. So there
Cynthia
are some
knows.
of us that go back a minute or two. And the other story that really resonated with me, and I would love your all's take on this, for those of us who are trying to build businesses from home, our littles, you know, are there. You know, my boys are now 25 and 29. It's hard to believe, but
Yep.
my first office was in our dining room, and I would sit on the floor and play Legos at the same time I had the phone because there was no like, you know, it wasn't
Yeah.
as interactive as it is today online. You had to work the phones, and so I'd be on the phone playing Legos, and you know, so
Hmm.
it's a part of the story. It's part of our journey. And if you are still at home with your littles, you know the balance, right? It's can sometimes be very hard. So it's thank you for sharing those stories. It spawned a couple of
You're
mine.
welcome.
Okay, so
And can I add two things on that, Kim?
yes,
Yeah, I just wanted to say that what's amazing on that is just to echo what you said is that I think the hustle, would you do it again? Do you regret it using the card? Sure, whatever. But that's the hustle. We see that the biggest show besides yours that we see is Shark Tank, right? Sometimes you're like, you know what? 30 days, it puts you against the wall. So I just want to underline what you're saying that I bet many of us listening understand that hustle. And I think about kids, it's interesting how times have gone by now. Back then, even I've worked from home for a number of years. Your kid cries or something, that's like, oh no, the client knows I'm working from home. Today, excuse me 1 minute. Let me bring my daughter and breastfeed her while we're on or whatever it may be. So now it's expected. So I just had to echo and join you in celebrating that.
well, I just like to give a quick, maybe a little bit of motivation to those, maybe if you're struggling. Desperation, in my opinion, breeds great things or it makes you crumble. So you grab a hold of it, you use it, you don't let it use you. If you're in a
Mm,
desperate place, then, you know, just use that as fuel to incentivize you to change your circumstances, you know.
yes.
So speaking of that, when it comes to challenges, because there's a lot of challenges when we're in business and trying to do business online or otherwise. And I feel like if I hadn't have had the struggles along the way, that I wouldn't be where I am. I wouldn't be the person I am. Um, and so I'd love your take on that, because I feel like people feel like sometimes they see successful people and they're like, boom, it just happened. But that's not true, right?
Correct. No, so true. And it's funny. I think Dave Ramsey says it best in his Southern drawl. We're a 30-year overnight success. He often says, and I think you're right. And I'm blessed that today, Kim, I'm definitely have more revenue, a little more stable than I was back then, as it were. Today, me and my wife are still on a journey. But yeah, you're right, Kim. To encourage everybody watching today, yes, today I have a nice mic or lights and a good background. But that's an evolution. So I think my encouragement to everyone is just to keep at it, keep doing it. But I think also you don't want to keep doing the same thing and getting the same result. That's unwise. But I think sometimes it's timing. You have to just keep at it, pivot. You learn what you knew today, you don't know last year. And when I can dive into some things I've learned, especially during the last 4 months, if you like, Kim. But I think for me, that's so important. I think that when I think back to first, it was Front Page, then it was blogger.com, then it was this tool and that tool, and you learn. And I think for me, Kim, what I've seen is it's two things about that. I think one is it's the technology evolves and you learn, but also, Kim, I'd like to think me as a person, even personally, me as a husband, me as a father, me as a business person, being a better leader to my team. And that's over the last year or two. That's the journey I've been, because the technical thing, that's important. Whether I'm helping somebody personal branding, Kim is the queen and king of all these tools and all these things, and personal branding too, and all these things. But I think also you and I, I'm sure you're going through it. I'm going through it, and those watching, be better people, better leaders. So absolutely, the way you start off is not the way you're going to end. If you keep at it and keep learning and evolving, I think that's an important part as well.
Absolutely. And I would love it if you would share some of the lessons that you've picked up over the past 4 months, because I think that we've all been in, emotions have been swinging all over the
Sure.
place. I'd love it if you would share that.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll share at a high level, then we can walk me through, Kim, which one you want me to go in depth in. But I think one is I start with, and this is part of this think big strategy, I think, is I shared my story already. So usually I start there, but I think, as you've said, it's important that people know I haven't always been the Ramon who you see today. I've had a child when I was young. I've suffered through depression, had some really yucky periods in my life. And I thank God that I'm through that. So I think that's important to talk about. And the reason I share that, Kim, because I think it's important that people understand what we're going through with COVID, with shelter in place, even with, some of the protests and discussions we've had on discrimination and bias and these things, this is not new. These things will happen tomorrow, 5 years from now, and they have happened. And I think that leads me then, Kim, to talk about fear. So fear is not new. We've all had scary times, but I think the question is, in what do we do with it? And that's really the exploration I've had. So in brief, and then I'd love to have a conversation with you here, is that March 13th, many of us digital nutcases or, techie people will know that's the beginning of the Friday of South by Southwest. I and hundreds of thousands of others were scheduled to go. South by Southwest was canceled, Kim. And that was kind of the start, or the middle of the journey of a domino effect, Adobe's event and all these big events being canceled. So that was that. So the short of the story is, I also had to think, how am I going to reinvent myself? Now, because a lot of my work, Kim, as you know, is speaking. I speak around the world. Thankfully, I had a good book of business, but the point is I still had to think, what am I going to do? And that's when one anecdote, if it helps others, I had to think of this Survive and Thrive Summit that I launched April 23rd. We had over 2,000 people. Some big sponsors came out. That was my reinvention, to do a mega big online event, which I never did before. So quickly to walk through a few key points, Kim, and then I'd love to see how deep you want to go into some of these things. But I think one is, how are you going to recover? Am I okay? Like they teach you in the airline or special forces when you're putting on the face mask at an airline or military. Am I okay? Then my family, my business, and others. So that's one thing I had to go through. As I've already talked about, this aspect of reinvention. How do I look back at the steps of my business and where the value add is? How can I tweak that and then sell that? And then some other points that I think about, and many people here are going through these things, there's leadership, my finances, sales and marketing, technology, the core of business that we had pre-COVID, Kim. that still is important. And then lastly, 2 points I always like to talk about is one, I think that personal branding, thanks for showing the book, Celebrity CEO, those concepts, especially for us really small businesses. I'm not some Amazon, I'm not IBM, I'm tiny. So my personal brand is essential. And lastly, Kim, mindset. I found out that some people who are in business when it's easy, when time gets tough and they're punched in the face, they can't take it. So I encourage those listening, having a mindset for business, Kim, is important. Those are a few things that I've gone through.
Boy, that was a lot. So I'm going to dig into a couple of those things. I agreed
Indeed.
100% with everything. So Bruce is saying the need to charge the client based on value provided, not on what competition charges. Yes,
Mm,
it's great. That's a great takeaway. So let's talk a little bit about that fear factor that I think a lot of people have had, and it's not just the personal side of it. I think like there is that piece of it, and a lot of times we don't even look to ourselves. I love that you mentioned that. Like, are we okay? Like,
right.
we need to first, because everything that happens, our personal lives, the things that are happening with our families, funnel into our businesses, whether we understand that or not. It
Yeah.
absolutely does happen. So, from the perspective of saying, oh my gosh, now all these speaking gigs that I had in that moment are gone. What did that look like for you? Like, how did you process through it? And then how did you come out on the other side with a plan to do something new, and evolve something? I mean, start something that you'd never done before. I'd like to hear that journey just a little bit.
Sure. And again, Kim, I wish that, I'm not the scientist of it, like that there's all kind of mindset people who have books out. Maybe this is an area So, but the journey really, Kim, I can remember March 13th. So that's when that was canceled. And that was I knew things were coming, but when South by ended, and I'm curious what other people think, feel free to put in the comments, like anybody here was going to South by, part of your business, you were going to get paid or something, and like it canceled, you were like, oh boy. So that's what happened. Sat with my wife, Kim, and I'm like, honey, if everything dries up, what are our options? I'm a realist. I wasn't crying per se, but my heart was heavy. Do we go with friends? Can we stay with our church? Can I Uber? Probably not, because everything's closed up. So I had to go through that. What are the money we have? What are the money we need? What can we cut? Can I tell the people who I owe money to, whether it's landlord, rent, mortgage, whatever it is? So that's what I had to go through, to Kim. And then for me, those who are not people of faith, no problem is telling you my journey, Kim. I prayed, and I was in church at the time, and I had this idea. So for those who you're not a people of faith, that's okay. Similar concept, meaning I had a time to think, to reflect, and that's when this idea. Okay, I work with large brands. That's an asset I have. There's Ramon, which is an asset, how I produce events and what I bring to the table. That's two. Three, I know how to produce stuff. I can bring together speakers and others. And I said, even if I can't do it in real life, meaning in real, in physical, let me put it together. And so that's what I did, Kim. And then I launched going back to Microsoft front page, right? I went to lead pages, and other people, Kim, you may use other things. I know you have Easel and other tools you have. So point being is that I put a page together, and I put names and faces on it. So I just stepped out and kind of like, it'd be like if I put Kim's face on a new project. It's a Kim, here's what it looks like. Are you in or out? So if I would have sent you a PDF, Kim, you'd have been like, well, I don't know. But when you see it in real life, it's easier to make a decision. So that's a tip that helps. When I do things often, Kim, I just put it out there online. Don't make it public. But then I give people a day or two or three. Here's what I'm trying to create. Because once you see it, once you're scrolling on your phone, it brings it to life better. And Kim, that's what I did, if that makes sense. I just thought of it. I put it on paper, put my team together, built it, a minimal viable product, and sold it. That's what I did.
Yes. I love it. So, what I heard you say too, and I really want to key in on this, because when it comes to saying, okay, where do I start? You started with your personal, like, let's look at this realistically. Let's dig in. What would we do if every cent that I am currently bringing in the door goes away? Yeah, and I
That's
think
right.
we all need to have that conversation with our own families, like our spouses or significant others. But then the very next thing, you didn't let it weigh you down. You're like, what do I have at my disposal? Guys, all of you have something. You have knowledge. And I know I've been really trying to help those that, have been trading their time for trading time for dollars to switch to sharing their knowledge so that they can monetize it. But you have to take a look at your assets and figure out what you have. Sometimes it is knowledge and relationships and connections. And then how do you package that into something you can sell? And don't stress over it being perfect. Like, you just made a minimum viable product. Do it messy.
Right.
Do it messy, right? So fear is my biggest stumbling block, that I'm too old to start an online business. Girl, you
Mm.
just stick around here because I need to talk to you. Like, I will
That's
set you
right, Vicky.
straight, okay? You're never too old, and there's just so much. Somebody out there needs you, and your experiences, your knowledge. You're never ever too old. So don't let that stop you. But let's just pull on that fear thread just a little bit more, if you,
Mhm.
because you mentioned that too. Is it, when it comes to fear, I always feel like. That fear is and mindset. I will tie those two
Yeah.
together because fear feeds into the way we think. And when it comes to fear and AKA mindset, it's probably the number one stumbling block for all of us. So
It
don't feel, Vicki, that you're alone in fear. We all have fear. I think it's a matter of what do we do with that fear. So, Ramon, over the years, you probably had a lot of your fear in your life, the unknown, whatever. Can you like describe a point where you came up against the fear monster, as I call it, and how did you push through it?
Yeah, no, it's a great question, Kim. And I think that, and part of it, I think, is how we're made. And you know, take me and my wife. She happens to just be a cautious person. And I'm grateful that she's in my life as far as us personally, because she is the brakes, as they say, kind of in a relationship. She holds me back a bit in a good way. So I must say that, we are how God has made us. But I think for me, Kim, yeah, I've had some situations. For example, when I first produced in 2005, Kim, I had the idea for my first small business summit. Back then it was called that. It's changed some names, but a big in-person event in the New York area. Between 500 and 1,000 people have attended in real life. It was scary doing that event, Kim. I had to take my personal credit card. And by then I had a partner of mine. Her name was Marion Banker. I love her to death. And she's retired now. But I took my credit card. Kim, I didn't know if I could do it. Nobody had sponsored it yet. It was an act of faith. I had to step out. Now I could have screwed up. It could have failed. But I think part of fear and mindset, Kim, and you let me know what you think about this. I think it's a mix of taking a bit of risk. You have a bit of that. Okay, okay. But it's not stupid enough, and I say that word respectfully, that you're going to lose your family, lose your house, not have milk tomorrow. So is that helpful, Kim? Does that kind of make sense how kind of
Yes.
I'm seeing that aspect of fear, mindset, risk? It wasn't like you stupidly doing it, and I say that in a respectful way, but you got to stretch yourself a bit, yeah?
Yeah, and I guess I've always said that there's amazing things on the other side of fear if you'll just push through it. And I can't promise that there won't be failure along the way. Like I've pushed through fear before and done something, to your point, that might have been considered unwise, and it turned out to be unwise. Oh, and I've also done, in all transparency, things that I've saw other people do that I thought, well, if they're doing it, it'll work,
Hmm.
and it didn't work for me. So, but don't let the failures stop you from getting back on the horse. It's like fall or the bicycle or whatever. If you fall off the bicycle, get back on, right? And I see a lot of people, well, that didn't work. So obviously, this whole online business stuff isn't going to work for me. I fail daily. I mean, I do. There's things, but I've learned to embrace fear. And I think that that's the key. If I'm feeling fearful, then I rush to it instead of letting it stop me now, because I feel like if I can get through it, something amazing's on the other side, even through the failures. And I'd love your take on this. Even through the failures, we learn. Do you agree? Through failure, we learn, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I
Yeah.
think that that's where the failure goes. You're not doing a crazy failure, but you and I are both in the online event space, different ways we do it. I work with large brands to do my thing, but the point being, it doesn't always work. You're like, it didn't record. I talked for 2 hours straight. Nothing recorded or whatever it may be. I got the guest lower thirds wrong. And these are smaller things, but I think people can identify. Kim, listen, if it's not something of somebody's life or something really bad, you laugh about it, you knock yourself on the head, and you move on. And I think that's the difference. I'm learning from this. And of course, I'm sure you teach these kind of things, Kim. I'm building my processes, my systems, things like this, so it doesn't happen again. Okay, guys, we did this once or twice. We made a mistake. Let's never let that mistake happen again.
Yeah, I love that. So, today's topic was about basically thinking bigger, thinking different, thinking strategic. So, can you give a couple of examples of what that would, what that looks like, even from your perspective, or like how can somebody start that process? Part of it's mindset, part of it's shifting our mindset, I think, and more specifically, the strategic part, because I think a lot of people can't visualize different things right now than what they've
That's right.
traditionally known.
Sure. So I'll give an example, Kim, from myself as it's worked, and then we can, to make it an example from somebody in your community, maybe. And again, if somebody has a thought, feel free to put in the chat. This is
Definitely.
Kim's show. I hope it's okay. I'm saying this, Kim, but
Oh, no,
feel
you are the guest. Go for
okay.
it.
So feel free to put, a question you have, and we'll do it live. But so what's happened to me, Kim? I'll do it that way. Is that, again, I'm a speaker. I do a lot of online events, as an example. So I'm getting now into producing summits. Unlike you've done them, a lot of people do them. They're not new, but a summit for me on various topics and things of that nature. To me, Kim, that's a stretch. That's a big deal. So that's one way, just a simple aspect of saying, I've done it this way. Let me try to 10x, 5x, 3x it. That's one level of thinking bigger. Second level, Kim, could be a strategic partnership. I'm on Kim's show. Hopefully one day she'll be on my show. Maybe Kim and Ramon work together and do the X event together. Simple. Kim and I like each other. We trust each other. That's thinking bigger. So the tip is partnering with someone else by saying, I have this skill set. They have this skill set. They make their money this way. It's good to talk about money. Here's what my goals are for my money. And you do something together. So that's point two. Point three is, don't forget to even take it to another level, Kim, of working with the bigger brands that now, and that's a whole nother ball game. You can't just do it. But I know for me, some of my sponsors, Kim, AT&T, Microsoft, Verizon, these big brands, I'm honored. When I get on calls with them, I tell them, I know I'm a little itty bitty company. I'm not Fox, CNBC, CNN, but I'm playing in that wheelhouse to a degree. So my point is this third level, Kim, of how can I think real big, but not doing something too crazy, if that kind of balance makes sense. I have a good team. I know, meaning if I can get 500 people at an event, why not get 5,000 people? So I think that's the kind of thing where I say, think bigger. You have somebody in your audience out there who's, I don't know, Kim, making a measuring tape. Silly example. Can they do something else? I don't know what that would be, but can they do something else? And I think the other thing I'll add, Kim, I think oftentimes many people, and I'll say our community to a degree, the online world, people working from home, we just focus on just ourselves, that team of one. That's okay to a certain degree. But I think we should all think how we can grow. By grow, I don't mean everybody needs to be Jeff Bezos with millions of employees or whatever the number. No. But should you have 3, 5, 10? I'm guessing Kim does. I know I do. Shout out to Elaine Fodelt, Kim, of her book, One Person, $1 Million Businesses. So that principle, lean, can help with that. Those things are helpful.
Yeah, I love what you said about just thinking bigger, differently, and shifting, stretching ourselves just a little bit. How do I know my assets and knowledge are wanted, needed by others? That's the thing that goes back to your mindset. There's nothing out there, honestly, in my humble opinion, that somebody else doesn't need to know. Look at the Google machine. Why would the Google machine be out there if people weren't constantly asking for knowledge? Just saying.
Right. That's right.
And there is, I mean, I know that's a smart answer. I don't mean it to be a smart answer. I'm just saying that every one of us has something that someone else wants to know and would be willing to pay for it if it was all in one place. So the only reason that courses sell today, guys, knowledge sales, is because people don't have to hunt and peck for all the pieces and parts. That's why when you have a solution to a problem for someone, they're willing to pay for it. So that it's not like that knowledge isn't out there somewhere. You can Google it. You can, read a blog post until your eyes bleed, or, YouTube videos. That knowledge is out there somewhere. But the reason
And
that
Kim,
it sells, yes, please
yeah,
jump in.
I just want to add to that point right there. Add to that point. Don't lose your train of thought. I just want to say it also because we do it different, Kim. So I just want to encourage people. Some people say, well,
Yes,
Kim's already doing it. Kim has her voice and way, but continue. I just wanted to stress that. How you do it, how I do it,
so
the
great.
world's too big.
Yes, so great, because we all bring unique things to it. I mean, there's nothing new under the sun. That's the reality of it. There is nothing new. It's the unique piece of it comes from us. How we teach something, how we share something, maybe how we've evolved something. Maybe we're a little smarter in our technique or our trick or
Mhm.
our hack or whatever you want to call it. So let's talk about that just a little bit, because I know a lot of my community are absolutely solopreneurs who are, one woman, one man shops. I know I'm a huge fan of the personal brand. I know you're a huge fan of the personal brand. So if somebody is out there and they are wanting to start a business, or they're not quite sure, do they brand themselves or do they brand a business name? What is your take on that?
Absolutely, Kim. And again, I'm going to steal from your playbook, Kim, and stuff you teach us and all those. But I think for those starting a business, again, you're talking to the carpenter who has a hammer. So for me, every solution needs a nail, something like that, Kim. So that's
Yeah.
my solution. But for those starting, it starts with content. Again, you can do ads, and I think there's room for that. I know on your show you had, I think, Andrea, I want to say, on a show, an episode or two ago. But the point being, with as far as starting your business, my encouragement to everyone: educate, 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 and educate. That is one of the ways to success online, as probably Kim has drilled into your heads over and over again. For those starting, for those who are the one person business and you're doing okay, you're making 50,000, 100,000, 150, whatever it is per year like that, and you want to do more, think, who do you need to hire at a lower rate to help you think of things that nobody else can do? That you're doing something, can you hire somebody to do the lower, not lower margin, but stuff that may be lower hourly dollar value, as it were, so you can then focus on growing that business. So that's one. And two, listen, Kim, I'm a firm believer in partnerships. I go back to that word. It's not for everyone, but I've grown my business a lot through partnerships. And there's many ways to partner, whether I'm just retweeting someone, they're retweeting me, whether I'm adding value to someone else's community, or they're adding value to mine, or they're just sharing. So there's many ways to partner, but that's probably the two things I would say for those starting. Be an educator. And again, follow everything Kim's saying, but be an educator is my one tip. And then two, for those already in business, see how you can partner with others in one way, shape, or form. Or what are the holes, the things your community is wishing they had from you, they're probably getting from somebody else, that you can share with them.
Yeah, I think that was, I interviewed Guy Kawasaki last week, and one of the things that he brought up was exactly just said differently than what you just said, which was, think about it from the standpoint of, if you've got this solution, then what's next? Essentially, he said it better, but that's basically
Yeah.
what you just said in the context of, where are the holes? What's the next thing that your person's going to need? Or how are others doing what you're doing, but how do you add more value there? So I'll just share a very quick story here. And I'd love your take on this, because I started with value accidentally. Seriously.
Mm.
So when I started my blog, I was like, okay, everybody says I need a blog. Okay. I didn't really know what it was for, but let me blog. Okay. And now my website, my blog specifically, drives like 1 million clicks a month. I mean, it's
Okay.
crazy. And so, but I didn't have a vision for that when I started. So I'm just curious as to, did you start with intention with your blog, or the value that you put out into the world? It could not, maybe it's not the blog, maybe it's something else you're doing, but how did that evolve for you?
Kim, my journey is similar to yours, and maybe this is similar to all of us who have just a heart for it. I didn't know what I was doing, Kim. And some days I don't think I still know what I'm doing. I knew I loved, for whatever reason, I loved small business and I loved technology. That's it at the time. And that was 20 something years ago. People can fact check the domain name, which I don't own anymore. So this is nothing for me, but you can fact check that domain name. And I started to interview companies. So I remember my first interview, Kim, was Nigel Burton. Don't even know if he works for Microsoft anymore. The head of Microsoft small business with a British accent. Hello, my name is Nigel Bolton from Microsoft. That was a terrible accent, probably. Anyways, interviewed him, and the rest is history. I just started interviewing, adding value on both sides, and the business grew. And now, hey, working from home on my fourth book, living the life that I want from my family. And for me, that's part of what success is. So yeah, Kim, to yourself, I didn't start out to answer the question with value. I just wanted to have fun and do that. And even today, if you look on the core values of Smart Hustle, it's have fun and do the right thing. That's all we try to do.
Yeah, I love that. And one of the things I really want to key in on that I want to make sure everybody heard. You want to have the life that you design and not let your business design your life. And that's an important distinction. And for those of us who've been around for a minute or two, we'll just say a minute or two, we had to learn this the hard way. Like seriously, I'll say that for myself. I'd say you would say that too, is we've been in the hustle trenches, and sometimes it's still there. I had this as one of my questions, and I kind of overlooked it, but it's relevant now, which is this whole work-life balance thing. This is a conversation that everybody has where, and I think the work-life balance is seasonal. There's times when we need to hustle our tushes off. We got a product launch, right? And we got to hustle. We got to get whatever it takes to get that done. And then there's times when, you can slow down, you can smell the roses a little bit more. But I'd love your take on that. What does work-life balance mean to you?
Yeah, I think that's an important question, Kim, and I think it trips many people up. But I'll give you my take, and I'll reveal how it works for our family. But I do think, one, it is definitely deeply personal. I think everybody has a different set of expectations. Now, on the other hand, let's say that your significant other says, no, it's okay. I don't mind you away from the home for 10 years. I'd be cautious of that. That I think any human, whoever's saying that, they're probably not being genuine, if it makes sense what I'm saying on that point, Kim. But I think everybody has what they want. I think, Kim, you said it best. It's seasonal. A friend of mine was getting his MBA, working full time, has his own business. I told him, dude, don't worry about Sunday school. This is your season. Take this year off to do what you're doing. Stop apologizing. So, because I told him the same thing. This is your season, your time. So I think as far as work-life balance, here's what I say how it works for my family. One, I educate my family how dad or how husband, and my wife already knows, of course, makes his money. This is what I do to make the life we have. Now everybody's clear. Two, I educate them on what's upcoming. South by Southwest as an example. So for my household, me being away, 5 days away, that's a long time for Mrs. Ray. She wants her boo home. So that's our family, though. Your family, whoever's watching, could be different. But so that's what she knows, though. March is upcoming. Ramon's going to be away for Thursday to Monday or Tuesday. That's cool. So that if that helps, Kim, that's kind of how we've done it in the Ray family. I educate very well. I know expectations, and my wife is clear what she wants from me. And to those of us who are blessed to work from home and work on our own, my family has traveled with me. Like I'm going to Orlando to a 5-day conference. Hello, we are going on vacation with that conference. So that's how we work it out.
Well, next time you come to Orlando, let me know. I'm coming over. We'll go to Disney or something. So Vicki's saying you want to design your life and not have life design you. Absolutely. Such a great takeaway. So, okay, so I'm going to dive into a little bit of a hot topic. I say a hot topic because you and I have talked privately about
Sure.
this, but I think it's an important thing for us to embrace as entrepreneurs is how do we think bigger, maybe more specifically differently around the whole concept of the race conversation for us as business owners. I know so many have struggled with this, and I would love you to share your perspective on it from, you and I have had heart-centered conversations around it, but for those that are afraid to embrace the the difficult conversation and not necessarily know how to embrace it in the context of their business, what would you share with them?
Sure. Yeah, here, I'll take this angle, and then Kim, you let me know if I answer the question correctly, as it were, if you want to take another direction. But here's how I can
There's no
answer from
wrong
what I'm hearing.
answer here.
Okay. Thank you, Kim. Okay, good, good, good. I think that for those who are struggling with it, assuming most all of us are decent people who want to do good, live great lives, and love our neighbor as we want to be loved. Let's start there, assuming we're talking to those kind of people. If we're not, the other conversations I can have. Then I think what it is that go to your friends and your family, go to your employees, your team members. Hey, listen, this is coming up. This is in the news. We're all talking about race and bias. I'm curious, what does this mean to you? Now shut up and listen. What does this mean to you? And whether, let's take me and Kim, let's be very vulnerable and raw. Let's say Kim's coming from a white lady perspective and saying, Ramon, listen, you're a black guy. What does this mean to you? Maybe, and I can do the same. It's not just white and black. The point is I can, as a black man, come to Kim. Hey, Kim, listen, we saw what happened with this person, that person, police, this, that incident. What does this mean to you? What does it mean to your family? What kind of conversations are you had? And I shut up and listen. I think two reasoned people with that kind of attitude and heart who want to learn and understand, that's, I think, the best thing that we can do. Because I don't know Kim's journey. I don't know how she was brought up. I don't know what she's been through at all. Kim doesn't know my journey, what I've been through, except that I like burnt pancakes and bacon on Saturday morning. She knows that. She doesn't know my journey. So, but the more we can talk and understand and have empathy, and then Kim will be like, okay, Ramon, thanks. Ramon, I never knew. Ramon, I didn't know this meant that. Oh, I didn't know this was offensive. Or I didn't know I could laugh about that. Whatever. And me in the same way, Kim, I never knew you thought this way. Kim, I never knew your family went through this. Kim, I never knew this happened to you. And conversations like that, Kim, I think are such a beautiful thing. And I think more of what America, more of what the world, but you and I being in America, I think more of what the world needs. There's always going to be issues, Kim, right? There's always going to be somebody shot unjustly, somebody beat unjustly, some video seen incorrectly that people think happened this way. We're humans. But I think that if reasoned people can be willing to have a conversation and talk, and friends like Kim and Ramon are, I think the world's going to be better. And I think that's probably what's missing, except on the Kim Garcia, this little oasis, you and I can talk and be friends. And I think I wish that more people, CNN, Fox News, whatever, the public discourse that are way above you and I's pay grade, I wish more of that would happen in America.
Oh, so do I. You posted something, I think yesterday or maybe the day before, that just really spoke to my heart, broke my heart, honestly.
Mm.
And I think for all the good that social media has done, my husband says it's the devil, because it has divided us. As
Yeah.
much as it has brought us together, it has allowed our human nature to segment us. That's the best way I can say it, because we're naturally, based on our human nature, we tend to gravitate to people who believe and think like us, and we don't
Right.
do the hard work. So I would like to address what Ramon just said, which is the hard work for us, is to listen. And I think it goes both directions. I think we need to listen. I've been listening. I've been paying attention. I've been heartbroken, over so much of this. But then I'm like, how do I let my actions speak? How do I have the tough conversations? And I think we need to keep that in mind always, is that there are two perspectives, maybe 10, 15 perspectives. We need to be open to other people's opinions and feelings and perspectives. And it doesn't mean we always have to agree. But we absolutely need to be open to having that discourse. And when we lose that, which we're very close to losing it, and don't let the press and other people tell you that you need to lose it. Always seek it, is my point. Seek the
Yeah.
discourse, seek the conversations, have the hard conversations. Be open to other viewpoints and perspectives, and think for yourselves, people. I'm sorry, I'm
Yeah.
getting on a little bit of a rant there. Sorry, I didn't
I
mean
love
to,
it.
but
Go, Kim. I'm waving the flag of support. Go for it.
all right. But no, it's seriously, it's like we've got to love one another, and yeah, So Patty is saying Ramon is right on. Yes, listening to
Thank you,
one another
Patty.
is so important. Yes, so true, so true. Okay, so we're going to pull up the winners, but while we're pulling up the winners, and I want to say I forgot to say, and I apologize, that we also give away, our sponsor actually gives away 3 months of easel.com. So we are going to be picking a winner, 3 winners for that 3 month trial of easel.com. So I omitted that on the front side, but we're going to have 3 winners for that. We're going to have the little light winner, the webcam cover, and best of all, Ramon's book. So,
Woo!
so, but while we're doing that, Ramon, I've got to hear the story behind the burnt pancakes and the bacon. Now, is the bacon burnt too, or is it just the pancakes?
Just the pancakes. And Kim, do we have about two more hours? We have.
Go for it. If we have 2 hours, we'll still be here, some of us.
So, see, I have to even move my body, Kim, to help you understand this. Ladies and gentlemen, I feel like tearing up. See, Kim's given me a platform now to talk about one of the most important things in life, and I say that tongue in cheek. There is nothing better on a Saturday morning when the birds are chirping, when the sun is coming up, when your family's asleep, and dad or husband or Ramon walks down the stairs. You put that bacon, Kim, 5 slices, not 3, not 4, not 6, 5, in the oven, Kim, in the oven, 380 degrees, usually about 25 minutes. And it's not burned, but it's crispy. That part when you go and you hear it in your ear, then, Kim, you have the 3 pancakes. It's about this big, not some small little cute ones, but about that big. And you know that feeling on the grill, Kim? You and your husband, your family are out there backyard grilling like hot dogs and stuff. The pancake should be like that nice blackened ring kind of around it from the pan. Kim, you take that bad boy out, you put it next to each other with some high fructose, unhealthy corn syrup, 2 glasses of cold milk. Kim, that's it. We are that is experience, Kim. And the knife cuts it, you can hear it go. That's the experience I have just about every Saturday, unless I'm not eating on Saturday and move it to Sunday. That's experience.
Oh my goodness. Now that was a visual. I can almost see every piece of that. I love it. So our ring light winner, yay, Karen, I'm so glad you won. All right, girl, if you will go up to the top of Facebook there and there's a little message button. There we go. Thank you. Send message and let us know what your mailing address is, and we'll get that out to you ASAP. And I know we have a webcam cover winner. Yes, Vicky, you won. Vicky, Warrenfeld's Cornson. I hope I said that correctly. Same, Vicky, if you'll send us your mailing address, we will get you set up. And then the book winner is Carla. Carla, you won Ramon's book. You're going to love it. If you'll send us your mailing address, we'll Amazon that right over to you. So, and then the easel winners are Jana Roman, Charles Litzer. Oh, Charles, I'm glad you won. Bruce, yes. All right, Bruce, I'm so glad you won. So all we need from you guys is your email address. So same thing, go to the send message, send us your email address for those that won the easel trial. You'll get 3 months of easel.com totally free. And we'll get that set up for you. All right. All right, so do we have any questions for Ramon, guys? I mean, is he amazing? I told you he was.
Thank you, Kim.
And
I just have a question, Kim, just for those who don't know or seeing this. Can you just tell us briefly, if you don't mind, what is easel.com? Maybe you were going to tell us already. I don't want to spill the beans, but can you just tell us a little bit about it?
Yes, I will so tell you. So Patty was just saying that she loves your personality. I told you guys you would. He's amazing.
Thank you.
So easel.com is similar to Canva. If you all are familiar with canva.com, Easel is a graphic design tool. What I love about Easel is the fact that they have a lot of pre-designed templates that are professionally designed by their professional graphic designers on their team.
Mm-hmm.
So the quality of their templates are amazing. Like I'm a design snob. It goes back to my early days as a web designer. And I would have no problems going to Easel and picking out something, putting my logo on it, downloading it, and sharing it on social. It's the quality of it is that good. And you can even use it as is, or you can tweak it. You can change the colors. It's, all kinds of things. You can design from scratch if you're a designer. But it is a great little resource. Highly recommend it. I think, like I said, the thing that I love about it is the quality of their pre-designed content. Thanks for
Nice.
asking.
Sounds like something. No, you're
Yeah,
welcome. Sounds like something I'm going to check out because I love your design. So, hey, I'm going to check out
yeah,
easel.com myself.
yeah,
Thank you,
definitely.
Vicky.
And then Vicky says, "Oh, I'm so glad you were here today, Vicky. Really, it's been our pleasure." I say that for both Ramon and I think that's true. I think we can both say that. And so Karen is saying, "Love his energy." Yes, you should see him on stage.
Thank
Not
you.
only do you get this emotion from him, but like he's moving on stage, guys. Like he's amazing. If you ever get a chance to hear him speak, if he's ever at an event near you, he does a lot of speaking. In fact, um, I know that things are kind of crazy right now when it comes to speaking gigs, but do you have like I have one on the books for next year. I'm just curious, are you starting to get
Sure.
speaking opportunities in the future?
I
Maybe
do.
not right now, but in the future. Okay.
There's an
All
event that
right.
has a tour they want to put together this fall. But again, as you know, Kim, everybody was like, it looks like, September we're opening. And you look at the news of today with things spiking up. So everybody's still leery. But yeah, I have a few speaking engagements around the city. And I'll be sure to let my community, your community know. People can see us both on stage.
Yeah, no, I think that's awesome. I think there's a lot of hope around us getting back to normal. The reality of this is that I don't know what the new normal, everybody says the new normal. I don't know what the term is, but the reality of it is I don't think we're ever going to be like before. Maybe that's the best way of saying it. It's like what's true today was true 2 months ago, and it's going to be true 2 months from now. We're just going to have
Right.
to learn to evolve and deal with this. I mean, it's not going away.
Yeah.
And what does that look like? That begs that question, right? What does that
Right.
look like? So when
Absolutely,
you go
Kim.
out in public, I'm just curious, when you go out in public right now, Ramon, are you masking up? I mean, what does that look like for you? Do you even get out? I mean, there's some that aren't really just, yeah, getting
I
out.
get out quite a bit. Anybody wants to see my workout, by the way, you can go to one of my IGTVs on Instagram. I show my little workout. I'm not a workout guy, but yes, I mask up and I do it this way, meaning I don't do it if I'm in a car. Some people, that's their preference. They do it when they're walking in a park, like 1,000 feet from people. No. But if I go to the local Wawa 7-Eleven, you have to, it's mandated. So I do that for that. And it's a courtesy. I was somewhere yesterday. I frequent the Newark area, Newark, New Jersey, a lot of homeless people, drug addiction. I go there quite frequently. So some of the homeless people, I'll say for lack of a better word, "Hey, Ramon, how are you?" They were getting close. I had no problem saying, "Gentlemen, I love y'all. We're going to fist bump." And just since one wasn't wearing a mask, only because I didn't know them and they don't know me. So if that helps, so I mask when I'm close to people. But when I'm out in the park or in my car, I don't. Some people do. But yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's it's just common sense stuff, right? I mean, you do what you can. I mean, I've seen so many people just saying different things about this, that, or the other. And, we were just having the conversation prior to you even jumping on this morning. So Carla saying, LOL, burnt pancakes and bacon. Oh my gosh, I'm tearing up laughing. I got it. I mean, it's such
And
a
what's
great
sad
visual.
about
I mean,
Oh, I
yeah,
had to. And what's going I get political, Kim. I don't mind getting political, but not to get too political, but it is turning into politics. You have those who I know who are wearing masks like in their library all alone just to, you know, show whatever they're trying to show. Then you have those that are, "I refuse to wear mask anywhere." Me and Kim are like this, screaming at each other with happiness, spittles going back and forth. Come on. You got to have a balance and some sanity, everybody.
yeah, and that just goes back to I think we need to all step back from it and the emotions that are tied to all of this are hard.
Yes.
And understanding what's factual and what's not. Do your research, figure it out yourself. Don't always accept things at face value, and just have some common sense. I think that will take us a long way. Um, All right. Well, I appreciate you so much, Ramon, for being the special guest today. Always appreciate you. I'm so glad that we had an opportunity to do this. And I am so appreciative of all of you that were with us, that you spent some time with us. I know time is super valuable. And when you spend time with us, I appreciate you for doing so. So take care of yourselves, guys. Stay safe. God bless.